Alright, welcome LEGO fans to episode 3 of A Beginner's Guide to LEGO Mindstorms. And today we're going to be taking a break from building and looking at all the components of robots. And instead we're going to be doing some computer work and looking at how to program robots. We're not going to be doing a whole lot of programming, but we are going to be getting very familiar with the program so that later on it'll be a lot easier for us to actually make programs for our robot. So you'll want to have the program downloaded before you start following along. You can do that with the disk included, of course, with the box. And the icon will look like that. Not the one on the left, the one on the right. The orange and white box. So, get the camera zoom back properly. And we'll go ahead and get started. So one more thing, you're going to want this cable nearby. It's the one with the USB port on one end and this weird looking thing on the other end. That's the part that hooks into the robot. And if you're following along in the LEGO Mindstorms NXT 2.0 Discovery book, we'll be doing chapter 3 today. Pretty extensive chapter, I'll just be summing it up. Now, in the book, they tell you to program it first and then get acquainted with it, but I figured it'd make more sense if we got acquainted with it and then start making the first program. One thing we will have to do, though, is start a new program before we can do anything. So you're going to do that with this small little box. It should be pretty large and obvious in my opinion, but it's not. It's pretty small. It says start new program. So they tell us to call it Explorer 1. And we'll just want to go ahead and type that in and hit the go button. Now it should load here in just a second. There we go. And now we have the grid. Looks pretty complicated, but after you get used to it, it's not that bad. So, let me go ahead and find my spot in the book. Alright, so creating a basic program. So the programming palette is pretty much the main part, and that is on the left side, right here. And that is pretty much the most essential part of the program. This is where you'll put all the blocks that get the robot to move, make noises, display things on the NXT brick, wait, loop programs, switch between programs, and all that good stuff. Next we have the work area. That's pretty obvious. It's all the lines, and it probably looks a little grainy because of all the lines, but I do the best I can with this. So this is your work area. Next is the start area, and that is this right here. And that is where you'll place your first block. I'm going to go ahead and place a block here, and I'll tell you how to do that later on, but you'll see that it just sits right there and is connected on what looks like a Lego Technic beam. Next is the NXT Controller, and that is at the bottom right corner of the grid, right there, that little box with a few different buttons. And that is how you will either download programs, at least I think, yeah, that's to download it, and this is to download and run it. I don't like that because as soon as it downloads, the robot's going to start moving, even though it's still connected to the computer, so I don't really like that one. I just do download and manually start it once I get it to a better location. NXT window, download and run selected, and the stop button. We're not going to worry about those just yet. And you can also use Bluetooth to download the programs to the NXT. I don't use that though. And you can do that instead of using the USB cable that comes with the kit. Next we have the configuration panel. So once you click on a block and place it, you'll get the configuration panel at the bottom of the screen, and that's what all this is, and that's where it starts getting a little complicated. You can't just place the block there and expect it to do exactly what you want. You have to configure it because it's a robot and it doesn't have a mind of its own. So you have to specify which port you want this to activate, the direction you want. This is for a move block, by the way, the most basic one, and the one that will be most often used. You have to specify which direction you want it to go, how it's going to steer, how powerful it's going to be, meaning how fast it's going to go pretty much. The duration, that means how long it's going to do this for. And then finally, if you want it to, when it stops, do you want it to abruptly brake or do you want it to slide or coast? So that's the configuration panel, essential for determining exactly what you want your robots to do. And I'll go ahead and show you another one. This is the sound one. And see, it changes. Is it going to play or stop? How loud is it going to be? Do you want it to repeat? And then the files, what exactly is it going to say? And I'm assuming that you can probably download other things into the robot. Maybe some music that you've downloaded that you like it to play. I can't say that for sure though. What else? The little help window. The little help window, if you keep your mouse on a programming block for a few seconds, let's go ahead and try that. Okay, maybe only the newer version does this. Well, the little help window, maybe if we click on it? No, that's not what I want to do. No, we don't want that. Okay, well this is the little help window, and if you click on a block, it's supposed to tell you a little bit about it. Let's try clicking on more help. Okay, that's taking us. Okay, so it pulls up a web link. Alright, so if you click on that, it tells you what some of the different blocks do. So that is how that works, at least in my version. It's probably different in the other versions, I'm sure. Next is the program navigation bar. That is that right there, where it says Explorer 1. I don't know why anyone would want to do this, but you can work on multiple projects at once, and if you are, they'll show up here. And you can click back and forth just like on other programs. I don't know why anyone would want to work on more than one program at the same time, though, honestly. Then there's the toolbar. We have toolbars in most major computer programs. That's all those little icons up there. We're going to briefly go through those. For managing programs, you'll use the 3 buttons on the left. There's the Yes, that's the new program button, obviously if you want to make a new program. There's the open an existing program button, and then of course if you want to save a program you'll click on this. And then we also have buttons to modify programs, which is the next 3 buttons. And those are cut, copy, and paste. They're used just like in Word or PowerPoint. So if you have to do a lot of blocks over and over and over again for your program, those might come in handy. And finally, we can use the pointer, pan, and comment tools. So the pointer tool is what we're using right now. That's this little guy that's moving around. We use that every day, at least every day that we're on the computer, not just for Lego Mindstorms. There's also the pan tool, and that is the little hand. And that's if you have an extensive program that stretches even larger than your screen is. You'll use that to move the screen around, like so. You can't do that with the pointer tool. So you can see how that works. And then the last one is the speech bubble, and that is if you want to add a comment. So let's say you have to remind yourself of what a certain button is going to do. You can click there and type something in like this, Hang on, sorry, you can't see this, can you? You'll just click where you want it, and it'll pull up like that. Let me try it again, actually, so you can see it. Okay, so you'll click there and say something like, this is a sound block. If I hit enter, I guess not. Okay, so you just click back to like pointer or pan, and that will save like so. And apparently there's another button here that doesn't mention, called create my block. I don't know what that does, and it doesn't talk about it in the book, so I'm not going to worry about it. So that is the toolbar. Finally, we have the Robo Center, and that is the buttons on the right side of the screen. They aren't really part of programming the robot, but they do contain, I believe, instructions for other... Oh, I'm sorry. This is the Robot Educator. The Robo Center, I'm assuming, is in the other version, NXT 2.0, and that contains directions on how to build vehicles, animals, machines, and humanoids. I'll go ahead and show you a picture of what that looks like in that version. Other than that, everything seems to be exactly the same except for that create my block thing. But that is what that should look like. Mine is a Robot Educator, as you can see. And it pulls up all this stuff that the book doesn't talk about, so once again, I'm not going to really worry about. Okay, it just shows little videos. I guess it gives you little challenges for you to try and figure out. There's, they have 3 different levels apparently. Common, complete, and data logging. Oh, I see. So it contains a little video showing you what it's going to do. Then it has instructions on the computer. Yeah, you can see the different steps here. And then, oh, it tells you how to program it as well, which is nice and convenient. If it will load, there we go. So that's pretty neat. It's not in the other version though, so you can decide which one you like better. Once again, sorry about the green bars on the screen. I think it's because of the data, or the creation, the program creation grid. It's doing that. It doesn't really do that in my Minecraft videos. So that's about it. So we'll go ahead and make an incredibly easy program. So first of all, let's zoom out here so I can show you this. We have to connect the robot to the computer. So this end of the cable, the non-USB port end of the cable, goes into this port right here on the top of the NXT brick. Top right. And it's just going to go in like that. And then, I don't really need to show you this. It's different on every computer, but this will just hook into the USB port. If you need help on that, I'm sure there's plenty of videos that tell you how to hook this into a USB port and show you what a USB port looks like. I just don't feel like taking the camera off the tripod, and I'm assuming that most people know how to know what the USB port looks like. No offense if you don't. I'm sure there's plenty of videos on the computer for that. So now that the robot is hooked into the computer, we're going to turn it on, and I showed you this how to do this in episode 2. Just hit the orange button, it makes a noise, and it's on. It's kind of dark. It's a dark screen, you can't see it that well. Okay, so we already created a new program. Let me start it over again though, because I had some stuff in there. So let me just launch this again. Here it is. Now all it tells you to do is pick up one of the move blocks. That is the gear 1 right here. You just click it. You don't have to click and drag. You just click it and place it on the starting point. And that is all they want you to do. We're not going to worry about the configuration panel that I talked about earlier, even though that's incredibly important later on. Just know that you will definitely have to use that later on. But for now, we're doing the most simple program. We're just putting this move block here, and then we're going to hit download, which is that one right there. You can hit download and run if you want. And in fact, maybe I will for this one because it's going to move incredibly slowly and not far at all. So I'm going to go and take this off the tripod. Sorry about the shakiness. So, go ahead and keep our eyes on the robot. And I'll go ahead and hit download and run. Compiling. Oh! Okay, it moved a little further than I thought it would. So that is all it does. Do it again. Just moves forward a little bit. That's all it does. So that is Explorer 1. And that is your first robot program. It's kind of fun to just do that over and over again, isn't it? R2D2. But of course, it's not nearly as complicated as R2D2. But we will make much more complicated robots and much more complicated programs in following episodes. So thanks for tuning in. Episode 4 will be coming soon, where we will make some much more complicated programs. But don't worry, I'm going to help walk you through that, and the book will as well. So once again, I recommend this book if you're following along. Great. If not, that's fine too. But this book will tell you a little bit more than I am. In fact, quite a bit more. And of course, it contains the building instructions as well. So, check out that book. Thanks for watching. Happy robot building. And we will see you next time.